Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel where we're doing another speed drawing. I know, there's been so many of these again recently. It's because I'm lazy. No, it's not. I've been focusing on my Christmas present making this year, I'm afraid. It's that time of the year. From October to the end of December, well, middle of December, I spend the entirety of those 3 months making Christmas presents, which means that these videos are kind of done edited together in the background while I'm sewing, which is what I'm doing at the moment. I'm currently cross-stitching tiny little Star Wars spaceships for my friends. How cool is that? It is one of the most enjoyable things in the world, and that's because I get to stab something repeatedly but still make something beautiful at the end of it. If you ever needed a more metal reason to get into cross-stitch, that should be it, because cross-stitch is bloody amazing. And I have made some really wonderful pieces of art and patches and all sorts of things using cross-stitch. So I recommend giving it a go, but we're getting sidetracked and people have probably already left and clicked off by now. I apologise if you're one of those people. Why I'm saying this, I don't know. It's been a long day. I'm kind of tired. Anyway, I would like to say thank you once again for my Patreon, Lloyd, for requesting another speed art drawing video. I don't know why all my patrons seem to be enjoying these speed art videos recently. I'm very grateful because they make me so happy to make them. But other than that, we're going to deep dive into Father Abel Nightroad. Who is this character? What story does he come from? Well, you're about to find out, so buckle up, buddy. Trinity Blood was one of my favourite animes that I ever got back into in the early 2000s. It is a series of novels, a series of manga, and a series of anime. As always, I kind of got into this first due to the anime, which was never properly completed, which kind of like Hellsing over halfway through. It seems to get very sidetracked and fall off into the land of make-believe and incredulity, but there is a reason for this. The novellas, the mangas were never completed, and the sad reason for that is the author of these wonderful works unfortunately passed away midway through them. And I think that it's great that they tried to honour his work, but at the same time, at that point, I'd kind of just, if I didn't have a cohesive ending, I probably would like write a very quick kind of and it disappeared off into stories, myths and legends and say, really sorry, I'm not going to rewrite the story because the person who did it is dead. I'd be a little bit like Terry Pratchett. If I never finished a novel, I don't want my novel to be rewritten and cobbled together and Frankenstein by somebody else. I mean, I do kind of appreciate when that does happen, but at the same time I also don't. So here we are. We're going to talk about Father Abel Nightroad, the priest who holds a secret and is absolutely one of the epitomes of himbo-ness. Abel Nightroad is also known as Kriznik02 and was born Abel Nightroad. He is the main protagonist in this series, though not the only protagonist, I would like to say. He is a member of the AX division of the Vatican Ministry of Holy Affairs, who is referred to by his codename Kriznik as an agent of the AX. Originally, Abel hated humans because of their role in the creation and experimentation of the 4 test tube babies for the Red Mars project, but he ultimately changed his mind after the death of Lilith Sal. None of this makes any sense to you, and it probably won't in this video because, as always, I'm probably never going to actually get through the entirety of this story, but we're going to give it a go anyway. Abel is a handsome young man with long silvery hair that is tied up by a black ribbon with long hair strands hanging to either side of his face. He has blue-grey eyes and he wears small, grey, round glasses with a double bridge. It is mentioned that he has silver hair, sometimes blonde silver, and he appears to be about 30 years old. And he is 6 foot tall and he weighs 143 pounds in the novels. In Abel's Kriznik's form, his eyes turn red and a pair of fangs poke between his lips, which turn black. He also has a pair of black wings and a red scythe created from his blood, which is stronger than steel and harder than diamond. The wings allow him to fly in the sky and have the ability to generate bioelectric fields. Abel typically wears a black priest robe with embroidered crosses, white gloves, and he has 2 black belts around his hips under the coat. I would like to say that he is incredibly underweight. For someone that is 6 foot tall, 140 pounds is really incredibly light and on the underweight kind of level. But it will be explained as to why that happens later on. His personality is he mostly appears as a clumsy and silly man who is completely unfit for his job. If he is in the company of others, his reactions tend to be comically exaggerated and ridiculous, which often leaves everyone around him exasperated or embarrassed. However, most of his day-to-day actions and reactions are a facade. When he is alone or caught off guard, his personality is typically fairly quiet and morose. This is mostly due to the fact that, in the distant past, he helped to wage a war of annihilation against the remaining humans on Earth, believing that coexistence between them and the returning Methuselah was impossible, and hating humanity in general for his creation and his use. In private, Abel is also far more competent and thoughtful than he pretends to be, but in battle he usually attempts to disarm or subdue rather than kill, but if the situation calls for killing, he is not adverse to doing so, though in the anime this is somewhat inconsistently portrayed, which sucks. I'm not gonna lie, it sucks. Activation of his Kruznik nanomachines adds a detached and ruthless quality to his personality, so long as the activation was purposeful. If the nanomachines reach the forefront of Abel's consciousness, as they did in one particular case of incidental 80% activation, he essentially loses his humanity and becomes little more than a sapient, bloodthirsty weapon of mass destruction. Despite being nearly unstoppable in his 80% fused form, Abel only used his Kruznik abilities as a last resort, mostly out of shame, and as such he is far more likely to transform if nobody else is around. Due to Abel's genetically enhanced nature, he is extremely intelligent, and this combined with his pre-Armageddon lifespan gives him his exceptional skill at manipulating even the most advanced and technological systems. Abel displays many odd quirks throughout the series, such as putting 13 sugar lumps in his tea and is always short of money. He is noted as having terrible luck as well, which often creates quite a laugh. Synopsis of his history. Abel was a short-tempered person in his youth. We've all been there. We don't blame you. Angry with humans for using himself and other genetically enhanced humans as tools for colonizing Mars. He served as the lieutenant colonel and in charge of management of the security division of the Red Mars project, a project created in response to an overpopulation crisis on Earth. His rank was below Cain in Night Lord and above Seth Night Lord. During the Mars colonization project, several colonizers who disliked Abel lured him into the Martian wilderness and ambushed him, damaging his environmental suit and leaving him to die. Just as Abel was about to die from oxygen deprivation, Lilith Sal rescues him. However, Lilith's vehicle broke down on the way back. It was during this time that the two found a highly technologically advanced spaceship, later known as the Ark. Inside the Ark, they found the Kulduk Bacillus and Kruznik Bacillus nanomachines. The Kruznik Bacillus was found to be the only compatible with the genetically enhanced humans after it was used to save Cain's life, but killed a normal colonizer, and so the Kulduk Bacillus was given to the 100,000 colonizers of the Mars Red Planet project. Eventually, nuclear war broke out on Earth as they fought for the Kulduk Bacillus and the Ark, and the same occurred on Mars as they had representatives from every country. 80 years later, the colonizers were finally able to rebuild a spaceship to travel back to Earth. Not long after, however, due to Earth's colossal proximity to the Sun, the colonizers started showing symptoms of vampirism. A rift started between the returners and the humans on Earth. The time period of this war that followed was known as the Dark Ages. During the Dark Ages, Abel, Cain and Seth sided with the colonizers. Using the power of the Kruznik nanomachines, Abel, Cain and Seth were responsible for the deaths of millions. As one of the Contramundi, or enemies of the world, he has been called a god of slaughter, god of carnage, and even a god of destruction, a name which Diedrich uses to provoke him. Lilith, Abel's former lover, sided with the humans but was killed by Cain under the guise of a truce. Enraged, Abel and Seth forced Cain into an airlock and dropped him all the way from outer space into the Earth's atmosphere. Abel spent the next 900 years mourning Lilith's death until Katerina Sforza ran into the catacombs, fleeing from a vampire attack. Abel saves her and promises to continue Lilith's legacy. And that's kind of a good place to leave his story, as there were a bit of spoilers in there, but it does kind of give you an idea of where he is at the beginning of his own story, at the beginning of the series, which makes it kind of useful to know. I didn't know any of this, and it did make the story kind of hard to listen to or follow, let's say, in the anime. Once again, thank you everybody so much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much to Lloyd once again for requesting this video. If you are interested in becoming a Patreon, please do follow the links down below. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care, have fun, and goodbye.